Welcome to episode 48 of the XRM Toolcast. In this episode, Scott and I interview Guido Preite, the creator and maintainer of the PCF Gallery, as well as the dependent OptionSet manager. Rather than giving an update of Jonas during the episode, Jonas actually gave us a fairly long video which I posted to YouTube, so feel free to check that out on our XRM Toolcast channel. This episode is nearly a full hour, so if you like listening to lots of the XRM Toolcast, this is definitely the show for you. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the XRM Toolcast. There we go. I haven't done this before apparently, so I needed to mess it up a few times. So with me, your host, Daryl, always raising the bar, and Scott always giggles when I'm asking him if he's wearing any pants. Daryl, how's it going, Scott?
Snigger. He
Yes,
said pants. I'm wearing. Yes, I am wearing pants and suspenders. So
Okay.
All
right.
To that anybody from Europe will be sniggering about that because suspenders are. I think they're called garters. Garters in North America. I think that's what.
Garters
Anyway,
would be
good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. We'll skip the conversation at that. But Guido. Okay. So let's. Like, I might as well introduce our guest as well because I'm sure he's not sure why that's funny or why we're even talking about those things. So our guest.
He's like Guido's like, am I on the right show? I didn't sign up for this. I did not sign up for talking about underwear and garters.
Yes.
I volunteered, so it's a problem. Yeah.
So our guest for the show is, of course, Guido. He doesn't even need a last name. He has one, but he asked us not to say it on account of his
because we can't pronounce it.
Also, I can't pronounce myself. That is the main reason.
Wait. Sorry. Just rewind a bit. Did you say you can't pronounce your own surname?
No, I can pronounce, of course, but also in Italy is misspelled or didn't. Wrong accent or end letter pronounced it wrong. So it's okay. I mean, it's not a common last name. So people have difficult sometimes also in Italy to pronounce correctly.
We could have a competition, couldn't we? Where everyone submits little sound bites of trying to pronounce it, and then we could award a prize to the person who accurately pronounces it in the right way.
Do you know that in LinkedIn you can actually add your name pronunciation now? So it's in my LinkedIn profile. There is, yeah.
That's awesome. How do you do that? That's amazing because everyone mispronounces my surname.
He told me that I didn't have a setting right in my LinkedIn profile, but he didn't know how to change it.
Yeah, I'm a LinkedIn MVP also. No.
Wow, full of these tips. You got any more of these top tips? I'm gonna have to go and find out how that works because everyone pronounced my name Doro or something like that, whereas it's actually Duro. There we go.
Okay, interesting. So at the very beginning, once upon a time, Scott and I were on a call, and I was joking with him if he was wearing any pants, not knowing in England pants is underwear, or what Americans would say underwear. So that's why he pointed that out and had a little laugh. We had a little laugh over that. So anyway, so for you it's trousers, correct? Are you wearing any trousers?
Trousers, yes. Trousers, absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So Guido, I first got to know you by hating you. Not really hating you. No. So
I know
back
that.
in the
I
day,
know that.
Back in the day, it was I was on StackOverflow like crazy. And everything was going great. And then all of a sudden, this guy named Guido kept on answering all these questions. I'm like, hey, I want to answer. And you'd get there like 5 minutes before I would every single time. I don't know what you did, but you kept on going higher and higher and higher. And so it was always like, why? I got to beat him. No, I can't beat him. And I couldn't argue with you either because your answers were spot on. They're great answers. I would have gave the same answer. I was like, well, I'll just upvote it because I can't do anything else and stuff. So, and then I actually got to meet you. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, we're great. He's even better than I thought he was. So the angst I had before I met you to now has completely gone away. And so now I can count you as a good friend and one of the only people I think that came to Summit and gave like every single MVP an item, right? You made that little ball thing that you can hang on the end of your
I still have that somewhere.
Yeah,
I have it on my backpack.
I think in English it's called the monkey punch or something like that. It's a
Monkey
keychain.
punch. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little keychain thing.
yeah. It's because I can honestly say that we didn't get any swag from Microsoft, at least in our team. So I say, okay, I need to provide some swag to others. So yeah, it was just like a small keychain, nothing important. But
That.
the color was blue, and when I saw the color, it remembered me of the MVP color of VP program color. So I said, okay, that's it's a good thing. So I know how to do that kind of keychain, and it was nice to have a little memory.
Yeah, we should give each other gifts more often. I think I think that you really put us to shame. Because I got from Eliza Benitez, I got some little Dachshund paper clips, which are awesome because I have a little Dachshund dog. So we need to give each other more gifts. Our lives need to be more about gift giving. I think this is the thing.
I think I'm realizing that, Scott, you've given me a gift. I just haven't given either you a gift. Because you were my Secret Santa one year, and I got a nice Oxford sweatshirt that was a British extra large, which fits my wife really well, but not me at all. But she looks good in it, so I appreciate it. Yeah, it's kind of fun to be wearing around an Oxford little sweatshirt thing. So yeah. But Guido, I did go look. I did go look today just to go see. I'm still beating you on the Dynamic CRM 2011. You're beating me on 2015. I'm beating you on 20. Like if you go back and forth to the different like tags, like we're like still neck and neck for some things. It's just kind of funny. I'm beating you on CRM online, but you're just beating me on CRM without the online. Like it's funny. It's funny.
Yes, Stack Overflow. It's one of the sites that recently I check daily or not daily sometimes, but the number of questions about dynamics and Power Platform, let's say today, it's lower than before. That's sure. There are other community like the Power Platform forums that are more traction if someone wants to ask question there. Stack Overflow is still a bit for strictly dev oriented question, API and stuff like that. So yeah, it's okay. It's not as before. There are other places if someone wants to ask a question, so I don't mind. And of course, personal time is always a nightmare when you don't have the time to check the forums or you have personal stuff to deal. So it's okay. I mean, it was more effectively years ago.
So what Guido is saying is that you can actually get more. He's letting you take more answers there. I heard it. That's what he said. He just said if you want to answer more, you can get more bigger score.
Yeah. We've already answered all the questions. There aren't any new questions.
That occurred to me, actually. I mean, how many questions can people ask? I mean, because, okay, the platform changes is changing, but no, it's certainly not radically changing that much that there's going to be more questions. It's going to be more of a case of let me Google that for you, let me Bing that for you, and then here's a link.
I did have to laugh when I saw that you had a issue come up for the Ribbon Workbench, and the person had IE8 installed. So you're like, you need IE11. And I was just kind of funny. It's like, oh, someone's got IE8, and that's still their browser in 2020.
How do you even still have? I mean, is that like you must be running Windows 7, I guess? Because I think Windows 8 was a mandatory update, wasn't it, to past IE8? Unless
I still have that version. I have some virtual machines. Because some customer require VPN hatches or some particular software configuration. One is with the Windows 7. I need to connect with Windows 7 and IE11 in order to connect before to the environment. So I must use that software. It's an old version on premise, of course, but happens. Yeah.
But do you have a VM with IE8? This is the question.
I have the image. I saved the image, but I don't actually run it now.
I need to come to you if I need to do any debugging. I say, Guido, can you give me like a VM of like Windows 95 because I need to do some testing. Yeah, sure. Here you go.
Yeah, there was this website from Microsoft where you actually can download virtual images of previous Windows version with previous Internet Explorer version. Right now, you can download an 11, but some years ago you can still download an 8 without problem. with the virtual machine within it. I used it a couple of times. It was very useful, just spin the virtual machine.
There's a really cool museum in Seattle called the Living Computer Museum, which has got like actual working computers, like Windows 3.1, and you can go and play, Reversey on Windows 3.1 and earlier as well. So maybe you should start a little museum, Guido. You could have people come in and you could show people around and the antiquities of past times.
Definitely not my goal.
Wow, that would be, I don't know, that'd be I guess I think you have to be at a certain age to appreciate a museum like that, Scott. I guess I don't know, but there's any young whippersnappers, they probably won't.
What are you saying, Daryl? What are you saying exactly?
I think I just said it.
Say nothing. You say nothing.
All right, let's pull back a little bit. So Guido, we have not had you on here. We have talked about some of your contributions to the communities over and over and over again, and that would be the PCF Gallery.
Yes.
And you also have a couple other tools as well. You previously had a newsletter, and that got a little bit too much, and it looks like other people have kind of taken over where you left off, not necessarily extending that one, but recreating that one and kind of filling that void in the community. So why don't you go through some of your tools you want to talk about, and why don't you go through the PCF Gallery as well, because that's probably the one that I'm guessing has the biggest reach, although it may not be the one that's dearest to your heart. Who knows?
Yeah, let's start with the newsletter, because that I closed, so it's it can be things that I can talk with with an eye in the past. That is always a good thing, so in my opinion. Yeah, I started a newsletter, I believe, in 2017, and that time I was not aware of a steady newsletter. No, one of the things that I wanted to make with my newsletter was no matter what, every Monday you get email. No, it's not a monthly, it's not once in a while. No, every Monday you are sure that you get an email from me and about the things of the previous week. No, so that was my main goal. And at the moment, my attitude was that there was too much information for me to gather. Different places, too much information, and actually I had not the time to check all that information. So I want to say, okay, how can I force myself to go every week to see, okay, what's happened in the at the moment Dynamics and Power Platform world in the previous week? Because if I know that some weeks, of course, I have no problem. You just go and you have the time to do that. But some weeks, you're busy for something else, you are tired or something. Okay, how can I force myself to actually see these news that have been out? And after I said, okay, if I am doing this for me, that is as useful for me, probably would be useful also for someone else. I mean, and this is also the reason about the tool that I used for the newsletter was not only by email. So, you can subscribe and you receive by email, but there was also a website when a person can go and check the previous one, because, everyone is busy and you check, maybe this week you are able to check, not the previous 2 weeks, but you still want to put in your queue. And I was satisfied with that. I mean, I liked the way that it was. If you see the newsletter, it was really how I fetch the information. So all the structure that you get the top articles and some tools and code section and the videos and the podcast it was exactly as I fetched the information by myself. So of course I'm a developer, but most of the time maybe there is not every week good news about developer. So, but there is some announcement of some conference or announcement from Microsoft or some kind of nice video, or this podcast as well entered a few times in my newsletter. So, and of course there was also the other article section where that some weeks there was really hard to decide what to leave out from the newsletter, because some weeks was was very easy, a few news or everybody know what the people want to read, but some weeks there was way too much information, and I needed, okay, this maybe is not good enough. But
I have to say that a heartfelt thank you. Just, I know it's been a while since you stopped doing it, but I have to say thank you on behalf of everyone. Everyone I've spoken to ever always kind of remembers that, that the weekly newsletter, thinking, oh, I remember that. It was amazing, because I didn't have to go and browse all the different sources. It was just all there for me on a plate. So yeah, thank you for spending all of the time doing that, because it was an awesome resource.
it was nice. And I mean, when I start to see some domain, because I can access the email addresses that people sign up now with the newsletter. So when I started after a while, I need some Microsoft guys, so at Microsoft.com guys, that's okay. So also in Microsoft, some people is interested in what I'm doing here, and also some big companies that they work in the Power Platform space and say, okay, oh, so this company is also working with this technology, because maybe they don't share public, no, that they use this technology, but people working in that company were interested in that. And yeah, it was nice. And the reason I close, I suppose I wrote, is that it was art in the end. I mean, I'm a big believer that you need to do something until you like it. I mean, if you start to do something that you actually don't like to do anymore, it's better to cut off and say, okay, I tried for a month. I said, okay, I get up and say, I want to close Dynamics Week. I want to close Dynamics Weekly for a month. It's okay, I need to close now. There's no other this reason. But lucky for me, there were other people inside the community that after started a newsletter, and also one started before I closed it, the Danish one about the developers, and after I closed mine, the Power Platform Weekly started. So someone filled the gap. I mean, I was not surprised about it. I was sure that the community in way or another will come up with something similar.
There's probably a whole ton of Chinese proverbs in what you just said there, about like doing something until you don't love it. And then there's always going to be that community that will carry something on. You're never, irreplaceable. Are you in China still? Because I know you were for a long time.
Yeah, I'm still in China. And I don't show you the outside because the light is terrible here in the morning. But also it's not a good weather, so it's too much. Yeah, but I'm still in China, yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful decoration you have on the wall there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's I think it's for the New Year tradition, this kind of decoration, for good luck for every New Year, for the Chinese New Year. So it's.
Yeah, you were my source for COVID news for the very beginning there, because I was like, oh, actually, I know Guido. He lives there.
Yeah, it's.
What's going on?
I mean, my perspective here is that we faced it earlier, no, than everybody else in the world, but we also finished it early. I mean, I still remember when last year, this time of the year, April, we already started to go out because it was finished here, the lockdown, and life started to be normal. So shop openings, people go out. Of course, you always need to wear the mask and protection like that, social distancing as well. Yeah, the life was normal. So it's around 1 year that my life is pretty normal. And of course, I read the news of all the other parts of the world and delays and stuff like that. But I mean, you can't have one thing. The world is so big, so can't expect that everyone is on the same time, the same moment. So other tools that after Dynamics Weekly.
Other tools, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the PCF Gallery. Then tell us about the PCF, because that's
because you are an author there.
It's been going for a long time now. How long is it? Because I mean, PCF has been been around for like nearly 2 years now, from the early days, from the preview and everything. So when did you first start it?
I think I started it 1 or 2 weeks after the public announcement of the preview. I wanted to give, I mean, everybody who was in private preview and know this kind of technology, of course, with different name before, custom control framework and stuff like that. But after the public preview announcement, I wanted to create a site where people can actually show what they're doing. I mean, regarding PCF, I'm a big believer of separation between the actual data and how to show the data. Now, this is one of the main reasons for me to have PCF in the first place. I mean, you have your data that is in your database, that is a number, a string, or what else you want, but how you display it inside your form is the game changer. Because when you, of course, if you talk about model-driven apps, you have this. If you add, for example, a Boolean field, you can have you choose a radio button, a checkbox, or a drop down, and that was the limited way to display the information. Right now with PCF, you can create a PCF about a Boolean field, and you can show whatever you want there. So it's this truly separation. This is what I like about PCF, and I created a gallery for two reasons. First one is that I wanted a website with a domain that was not traditional .com, .net, .it stuff. I like the idea that in the internet we have many of these kind of top-level domains that very strange, like .museum, .gallery as well, but they were not so famous. I mean,
there you go, museum. Your VMs. You could have one for your VMs.
VM museum.
Yeah.
Maybe that is an idea for the future. So when I decided the name, I said, okay, let's do .gallery. I like it was short, meaningful. I said, okay, it's a gallery, so it's .gallery. And I like it I wanted to try to have that kind of website. And the second, of course, was to show what other people were doing inside the community. One of the main requirement for the gallery is that the control is open source, or at least the source code is available in some kind of form. That was, for me, was a mandatory thing. I mean, I don't host closed source control. I have no interest on that because everybody can see a screenshot. I mean, I don't care if you can just see a screenshot, but if some people can go there and see, if you are a developer, can go to see how it's implemented, or if you are an end user, you can download the managed solution that is behind this control that is available.
What I love about it is because the gallery, the notion of a gallery is you've done such a good job of it, because it really does showcase. It is beautiful. I have to say, I mean, it is a beautiful website. You've done such a good job. You can go there and you've made sure that there's pictures. You always have pictures or like little animated GIFs, and everything's laid out just really nicely. Did you get like professional designer to do this, or you just have hidden talents?
No. I because I wanted to focus on how is display the screenshot and stuff like that. I wanted to see like a Pinterest, no? I mean, I used the Pinterest in the past. If you go to the site, probably there is still the theme that I use that is a Pinterest or something like that. That is based on Pinterest, no? Is that kind of website navigation, no? That when you navigate Pinterest, similar a bit as Instagram, but Pinterest was earlier and more focused on what there is behind the image, no? That you are seeing. So I wanted to create a site that have that same feeling. So I looked for teams that have a Pinterest feeling. I found one and I created it, and it was good. I mean,
yeah, it looks lovely. What's the back end then? Is it WordPress or something like that?
No, it's a static website actually.
So literally, you've built it from the ground up. It's all like,
yeah, it's a GitHub Pages website.
Wow, that's hardcore, man.
No, it's very easy to set up. Of course, one of the reasons that many people ask me for improvements on the gallery, and they are right to do that. I accept every feedback. I got some people who give me feedback about the design that I implemented, or some feedback about some functionalities but there are some functionalities that I'm limited by these GitHub Pages like a search functionality that so until I don't move it to a more dynamic website that is in the queue, of course, is in the queue.
In the fullness of time.
Yeah, in the fullness of time, exactly. For now, it's a static website. The main advantage is actually the price of the site is 0. So that is something I don't need to care about the prices, ads or website or stuff like that. It's the GitHub pages.
Do you know what kind of traffic you get to it? I mean, have you got any stats on that?
I have some analytics there, Google Analytics, I believe. I'm not a big fan of analytics. I don't care if the website. Yeah, because I mean,
it's there.
This coming from the guy that was checking all the emails and seeing how the emails are coming through, doesn't care about analytics.
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if today 200 people, okay, probably there are 2,000 users every day on the gallery. That is what I get. But if today there are 200 and tomorrow 4,000, I mean, I don't care. It's there are 0 advertisements on the site.
Oh, you might care a little bit, just a little bit.
I was more interested on the newsletter, the number of subscribers in the newsletter. That was a more metric. More subscriber you get means there is more people interested in what you're doing. The gallery is not it doesn't show off what I'm doing. It's about what other people are doing. So it's I should probably make the analytics available to the authors instead of me. That should be one thing that maybe authors are interested in following. Is my PCF control successful? How many people went to GitHub through my link, not to the gallery link? That is maybe an information that is more interesting to the others. That is not an information that is primary to me. Maybe if tomorrow I start some kind of control of the week, you put some highlight on some controls, most downloaded controls. Of course, there are many suggestions that I received about the gallery.
So far, all of them sound great.
Yeah, I mean, I signpost people a lot of the time to PCF Gallery. So in all my presentations and my course, and I post people over, and I find that when I'm talking to people, a lot of people love it because firstly, it's a sort of like the art of the possible. It's like, okay, what's possible? Because there's so much there in terms of this really different, a big variety of different controls. There's some really advanced controls, some very simple, but a really good coverage. I love the way that you kind of categorize them and you curate them into the little taxonomy that you've got there. I mean, that must be quite hard to sort of decide, well, where does it go, in which tags?
Yeah, the categorization, I can say that is up to me. I don't allow authors to send a tag, because I know that some authors will put 100 tags or something like that. And I think maximum is 3 tags I put in a control. It's there is a search functionality behind the tag, so you can watch, timeline control or date time or this kind of things. Look up, probably there is also, and data set or data grid or something like that. I mean, I'm not so consistent because that I do manually. So yeah, it's a way for organizing a bit the controls beside the model driven and canvas apps filter, that you can see easily if a control is for model driven or is for canvas app or for both, and soon for portals as soon as someone submits a control.
Portals, yeah. I mean, a lot of people use, I don't see so many people deploying the solutions directly from PCF Gallery, but I see a lot of people using the code as a starting point, because it's just it's an absolute treasure trove of sample code, effectively, where you can kind of go and work out how it all works and then reuse that code and, and make your own version. Do you see a lot of people sort of asking for you about support and things like, is this control supported by the author or things like that? I think I see.
Yeah, I mean, there is a comment section on each page by Discus, is the server that hosts the comment section. And yeah, I noticed that actually there are many end users. So most of the question is there is a managed solution available for this. and I need to say, okay, there is no indicator, so probably not. So, or where is the solution, where I can download the solution? Because when the download link, it points to GitHub. And from GitHub, you need to go there and see, okay, maybe it's in the releases section, maybe some people just add the zip files in the repository. It's a bit hard to navigate because there isn't one way to download the solution. Some people actually suggest if I put the link directly to the managed solution, but that will take more time for me to check if the solution has been updated or where is the exactly position. So I'm happy if someone write a comment. I'm happy to assist. Okay, this is the right link, but I can't keep also that kind of organized. I mean, I do it on my free time, so yeah.
They're getting what they pay for.
No, it's not about that, but in the end, it's some. I mean, I know that I'm right now. I'm the only person that manage the gallery, and I don't want to be the only one manage the gallery. That is something that I'm well aware. So, if in the future, and hopefully that after I change the website, how it works, I hope that I can be easily for other people to manage the website as well. And of course, for outsourcing, maybe if they want to change something or change a screenshot or something like that by themselves. No, it's a long process.
If you're a listener and you care anything about Guido and anything about the PCF Gallery, contact him and say, I want to help manage this. Get to the point where I can help you, help us. Yeah, right? Is that what it is? Yeah, that's part what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I try to reply to everybody that contact me. If someone tried to contact me, I didn't reply. Sorry about that. Maybe I skipped the email or skipped the DM or something like that. Write me again. I mean, it's I try to reply to everybody. I don't get contact enough, so it's okay. I'm not Scott, so Scott, I think he receives 10 emails every day about Ribbon Workbench, so it's okay.
But after this, you're going to get like a massive barrage of people kind of saying, yeah, you never did actually reply to me. Your mailbox is going to fill up with people after they hear.
Yeah, but I'm happy because, I mean, it feels me accountable. You know, if you start a project, you should keep on until you can do. If you don't, I mean, the same as the newsletter. The moment that I was not ready for continue, I just said plain sight, look, I'm not continuing it.
That's a very mature attitude. I think a lot of people should probably take a leaf out of your book on that.
Yeah,
myself included, to be honest.
Yeah. Your product is way more used than PCF Gallery or the newsletter. I mean, it's honestly one of the top recognized software. Everybody uses the Ribbon Workbench. I mean, no doubt about that. So.
All right, we can have arguments about who's more humble, but I'll just say both of you guys are amazing and equally as humble as you are amazing, and we can move on to something else.
Come on, Daryl, you're awesome as well. You're awesome as well. Come on, bring it in.
I mean, you are the creator of this podcast. I mean, it's not. I don't create podcasts. You created this podcast. If you.
I've owned my own company for 2 years, and I haven't even done anything with my website. Not a single thing, besides have the domain. That's it. I fail in so many ways. So many ways.
Don't we all?
So the other tool you were talking about was the Dependent OptionSet Manager, right? And so why don't you go ahead and explain what that tool is for our listeners?
Yeah, so it's a tool that very few people use because there is filtered lookups. So if you have a reason to don't use filtered lookups, then you can use my tool. That is normally how I describe it. Yeah, maybe it's the things that I'm most proud of. Maybe it's strange, but I really like it. It started a few years ago. The previous version was just called the Dependent OptionSet Generator, where I just created a tool that assists you to create this JSON configuration. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So dependent option set is just a tool where you have a multiple option set in your form and you want to do a cascade behavior. So, some option set depend on the others, some values. So you don't want the user to just see all the options, but you want to categorize it. And there was this sample in the Microsoft documentation that was using XML maybe in the past, and JSON later on, and they provide this JavaScript that you need to implement, and the instruction to create this XML or JSON after, to how to create this dependent option set behavior. And I mean, adding the script was very easy. I mean, from a developer's perspective, you just need to go there and click two boxes and put some things, and you put the most things that nobody wanted to do is to create actually the XML because it was time consuming. You need to know the value of the options, you need to know how you want to address the behavior, and you can only test after you deploy it. So if you want to change something, you need to go to edit again the XML. It was a nightmare. I mean, I didn't like, nobody should like to do that kind of stuff. That is in my opinion. And so
we're amongst friends. We're amongst friends here. It's okay. You can say that you like editing XML.
No. Yeah, you make a joke, but I mean,
You make a joke.
you probably know what I'm referring to, but I mean, there are some people that really think that editing stuff just in code is funny.
Yeah,
It's not funny. If they feel funny about that, they should go to play something else. You can find more fun than that. I'm straight serious about this because time is one of the things that you start to appreciate when you grow up. No, I mean, I'm older than before, of course.
Not me. Same age.
When
Darren never ages.
Darren never ages, but I age. And it's time. I mean, because we are on the XRM Toolcast podcast. I mean, XRM Toolbox was created for that purpose. I mean, you just don't do stuff that you're already doing before, and you can have tools to assist you on doing tasks that nobody else who wanted to waste time on it. I mean, it's the fact that I'm sharing it or not publicly is a different topic, no? But everyone, if you take a company or partner, probably they develop some internal tools to automatize some stuff, and maybe they don't put on public, but they have that kind of thing. So back to dependent option set, that was my main reason. I was really tired to edit XML. I mean, honestly, I was worried that, you miss up a column or something like that. I mean, it's something that Microsoft should do in the first place. Huh? I mean, so if you have some audience in Microsoft, guys, I can accuse them, no problem. But
responses on a postcard.
Yeah. I mean, I probably know these Microsoft guys too. They know how I behave in this kind of things, so no problem about that. And so I created this generator, and the first version was well. I mean, you still use the library Microsoft provider, or you can use my library. There was a compatibility. I left the compatibility side there, so people that already deployed the solution with the Microsoft library, they can still use my generator. That was my main goal. And so I just created a part where I created the JSON, and I implemented the compatibility with the previous version, new version, stuff like that. And the other things that I liked is that you have a demo that was totally on a website hosted, so you can actually see how the application works before you actually deploy the managed solution. That is,
I love that. I really do.
I like in the first place, because it helps me with creating the application in the first place. I don't like to test in the cloud. I like to test locally. And this was the first version. Some years passed. People say, you cannot tease. There is this bug of things, and okay. And I didn't like to make some changes too much on that. Probably the main things that I implemented there was when the multiple options choices. Okay, let's call choices. Multiple select option set was introduced, and the original script from Microsoft didn't deal with that. And I implemented a version where you can actually work with dependent option set that was also multiple option sets. So that was one thing. So, okay, people need it, so I can. And after a while, I think last year probably, I created this new version that I called the Dependent Option Set Manager, and I put on GitHub. And so I paid attention to how I wrote the code. You know, if you look at the code, it's quite simple. It doesn't use any framework. It does only use jQuery and vanilla JS and vanilla HTML. I'm not a big fan of React or something like that, also if I run the gallery. And so I tried to comment it to the most most commented, most part. And the other part is that I want also to automatize the process where you actually deploy this dependent option set solution. So you don't need to actually now put yourself the JavaScript or something like that. You know, you just open the application and you click, you create your web browsers where you want to host this dependent behavior, and you click, and it should apply to the forms you selected, and it should work. So this is the main step.
It should.
Yeah, it should.
You sound so confident in this, Guido. Come on. Where's your salesmanship?
No.
It's going to solve all your problems and nothing's going to go wrong.
No, actually,
I've used it and I can confirm that it does work.
Yeah, but I got a person that opened an issue on GitHub, and there was a bug that was okay. I don't see this. Okay, luckily I found the bug very easily. Okay, was my problem. So also hosting on GitHub was easily because, you know, people. I always say, okay, if you have a problem with this solution, go to GitHub and open an issue there. Because my previous solution was not on GitHub, and, you know, some people mail me directly or left me a comment on my blog, and my blog decided to don't publish that comment. And so I said, okay, look, if you want to something about the endorsement, you go to the GitHub, you write there, and I try to help you as soon as I can. So that is the things.
I'm always impressed by how patient people are and polite they are when they're reporting. Generally, people they're thankful for the tool in the first place, and they're like, well, how can I help fix this? As a general rule, like 99.9% of people are just so nice and so patient.
And then there's that 1% that we share among all the MVPs of look what this person wrote, and yeah, it's crazy.
No, but yeah, Scott, you are right. I mean, most of the time when you need to debug a problem, it happens only on this user machine. So I ask this person, can you send me some screenshots first to understand? And of course, if can solve that, looks, can we set up a remote desktop connection? No, you show me how it is really a problem on your side, or you record a small clip, show me how it looks like the problem. It's time consuming for both the end user and the developer. That's for sure. I mean, you can't create a reliable software 100%, that I'm well aware of. We try our best. I mean, it's the reason that I also put on GitHub is also if someone else wants to create a better version of it, it actually absolutely can do it. The license is MIT. I'm not a license freak that GPL3, GPL3 affair or that crazy licensing that you need to do. Put your name on a billboard for 3 months, and after you can fork the code, something like that. I mean, if I put something public, it should be public. I mean, I don't care. The license implication should not be a big part of what I'm giving public. Yeah. If I want to keep something private, I will keep private.
Makes sense. So the whole world wants to know, when are you going to give in and change it to the dependent choice manager?
No, I will not change the name. No.
Straight. No.
The personal, I'm actually tinkering about maybe I need to go through and actually update my early bound generator stuff where it says entity and actually replace it with table. I'm half thinking about doing that.
It's entity in all of the SDK. It's entity reference and entity in the SDK. Yes. So I don't think if there was ever a place, Daryl, the early bound generator is a place that entity must remain.
Okay, all right. I will probably go back to I won't change it until the SDK changes the naming conventions, and so I'll probably leave it that is. But okay, so it's going to be the dependent OptionSet manager forever, then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, the naming things is that, first is not so famous tool, no? Second is not a generic name as a Ribbon Workbench, because, Ribbon Workbench is so generic, very good name that they can change everything, but they can keep a name. You can use that name forever. I'm very happy to update the description, to add choice, power platform things. Changing the name is something that I really don't. Nobody cares about the name in the end.
You know what will happen if you change the name, Guido? You know what will happen? You do know what will happen, right? Microsoft will change the name again. That's the guarantee. Like that's happened to Jonas. He changed some tool to go to what was before Dataverse, Project Odile. What was one that was wrong? Dataflex.
Yeah,
was it Dataflex? Is that? I don't know.
Yeah.
He changed everything.
I better we don't say the name of we get a strike.
Yeah. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes. Oh, okay. So, any other things our listeners should know about you if they don't already, Guido? Are we missing anything?
I think my public appearance on Dynamics is connected to these things we described. I mean, it's if some person asks me what is Guido doing in the Power Platform world, it's probably these two things: PCF Gallery and Dependent OptionSet Manager. And
that sounds like it could be like another email newsletter you do. What is Guido doing in the Power Platform today? It's like
no, it's very boring what I do actually. Most of my work is about server-side deployment, so plugins, custom activities, stuff like that. And as I said before, I'm not a big fan of React. Some people will be maybe surprised about this. I'm a
great thing about JavaScript libraries is there's so many to choose from. It's just like standards, right?
Yeah, so, maybe for this I like vanilla JS. This is something I know that you both like TypeScript. I also like TypeScript, but when I see a developer that I use TypeScript, and how you define your variables? All the variables are any. Okay, so it's okay.
They're not
you use
using a linter.
They
need to be using a linter because the linter won't let you do that unless you explicitly say ignore this rule.
Sometimes you in yourself to victory. I mean,
yeah, no, also when I write something on TypeScript, and I need to use any because something's not working, I need to test out. It's a failure for me because. If it's a typed language, in the same way that I hate to use var in C#, I only use var when I need to do a for each on a dictionary. That I need to, instead of writing key value pair of whatever, I write var because it's way too short. That I appreciate, but I don't use var in other. I'm an old style. I'm an old guy. I know. What can I do?
Oh man.
Interesting. We're gonna have a whole nother hour on that topic, I reckon.
Yes,
I can certainly I can sense from Daryl's.
Join us next week as we describe why you should be using var or not using var for the next hour and a half.
Yeah, it's way more interesting that people about me what I'm doing. So that's sure.
Well, what you're doing is not using VAR, so I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, it's not a big fan. I mean, I'm very open about what I do or what I don't do when I about work related stuff. It's I can, if some people ask me, say, why you don't use this technology, or why do you still use this technology, I can easily open say my point of view. It should be the other part that tell me, look, you should use this technology because you will have this advantage. No, let's consider, for example, the null operator in C# where you have the dot stuff, dot question mark and whatever to avoid
The Elvis
the
operator.
yeah, sorry, I don't remember the name. I mean, if a person asks me, say, why you don't use that code, that kind of style, and I say, okay, 1 month later, we're not able to understand what I wrote if I use that kind of style. If I write an if then else condition, I may be able to understand what I wrote 1 month ago. Yeah, I mean,
That is a very good exercise, though. Seriously, going back and looking at old code that you've written, I have to say, it is super useful. I do it all the time. Like you look at it and you go, "Why in the earth did I do it like that?" I mean, it's like,
no,
yeah,
in my work, it happens very often, actually, in the work I do, because, some person ask me, okay, you wrote this plugin 1 year ago and you need to change the behavior. And if I don't understand right away what I implemented back then, and it's time wasted. I mean, I need to waste 30 minutes or 1 hour to understand, okay, this is the logic that I wanted to implement. And I mean, in addition to this, you also found these operators that is dot question mark, and I'm not, when you start to work, you have your peak hours and you're not peak hours, no? If you are in the peak moment, yeah, you understand everything right away. You say, okay, yeah, all right. If you are not in the peak moment and you need to work on some old code, okay, okay, let's grab a coffee. Let's, maybe I need to call this person. Yeah, I can. Let me reply to this email.
procrastination. What you're describing is procrastination. I am very, very well acquainted with procrastination.
Why do today what you can put off for tomorrow?
Funny things. Last MVP Summit, they give you these badges when you can write something. Talk to me about, no? This badge you can put. So if you want to talk about me ads or talk to me about Power Platform, also people maybe can see this badge on your shirt, and they can say, yeah, I also work with that. And what I wrote was talk me about procrastination. Really, some people can confirm that. So I know well what it's about. So I'm an expert. That is definitely that.
Well, I think we could talk for a long time on procrastination and why you don't like VAR. But I think, Daryl, you did do a survey on Twitter, didn't you, on what the optimum amount of time for a podcast would be. What was the result that they came up with?
Let's see. I saw it a couple days, and I need to go back to see what it actually was now. Thanks for reminding me. But I'm pretty sure we're probably over that time, actually. So...
But what I want to know is if was it the speed that people listen to it? Because like I quite often listen to podcasts at like 1.5 times the speed. So you talk two. See this, this really as the test of a genius is if you can listen to stuff on like 2 or greater. I just can't do it. My brain just can't keep up with stuff. So unless we could do this podcast and I talk really slowly so that people that are listening to this on 2 times or what's going on.
So all right, so there was a tie between half an hour and 45 minutes and 45 minutes and more, actually, at 38.1%. So but yeah, so no one wants it to be less than 20 minutes though, so that's good.
That is good. Yeah.
Yes. So and I will say that if the speakers are speaking your not just your normal language, but your actual dialect, you can go faster, I think. But then Guido, you're kind of changing on me though too. So I used to be at 2 because I want to get through everything twice as fast. But then I started doing some of Ian Connolly and the those dynamic guys, whatever their podcast was, and I couldn't do it at that rate. Their accent was so much different that I just couldn't quite catch it. So now I'm on the 1.7.
See, you're not a native Scottish speaker then. You know?
No,
that's what you're saying. Yeah.
I think that is also how you consume the information, because, for example, I can listen to something also at normal speed, but if I'm doing something else, browsing a website, meanwhile, I'm not able to focus. So I mostly listen at a speed of 2 because I just listen to that. So I can focus on the thing. When I listen to something at 2, I don't focus on nothing else, because also at speed of 1, if I'm checking website and do something else, I have no use. I'm not able to follow. Also, if it's called to you speaking, I'm not able to focus. So I just listen to you and just focus on that. I know that half of the time will be enough.
I listen to podcasts backwards, so
You are a pro. You are a pro. So.
I just want to see if there's any hidden messages, like the old records, like with the Beatles and Queen and stuff that have to hidden messages.
Well, Guido, I have to really thank you for your time as well as all your contributions and friendship over the years. So thank you for all that.
Thank you.
If our listeners want to get a hold of you and tell you how awesome you are, or how they want to help you with the PCF Gallery and they want to be a part of that, maybe yes. How do they do that?
They can contact me on Twitter, where my handle is CRM Answers. Talking about all the names that don't get renamed. Or
CRM.
Everyone's asking you Salesforce questions.
Yeah, LinkedIn is another way that I add everybody there. I don't care if you just send me a request for adding me, and if you want to ask me a question or just talk, no problem. Or if you want to invite me to another podcast episode, write me.
Well, yeah. Well,
I'll ask you a question on Stack Overflow. That should be where people are asking questions.
No. There are plenty of places where you can ask questions now. But one thing I want to say, it's better to ask the question in public on the forums than ask people directly, because also I get contacted some directly messages, okay, Guido, what about this? My answer is always write the question in the forums, and if time I will check about it. Because maybe Daryl will replay it. He can replay it, so it's okay.
We all have a limited number of keystrokes. We need to maximize them. Scott Hanselman would say.
I love it when we all kind of end up referring to each other's answers as well. That's what I, because we've all crossed paths in the various forums, and it's like, oh, and Guido's got a really good answer over here, and Daryl's got a great answer over there. I think that's what's really good about having stuff in the public forum, is that you can cross-reference, and it's this big kind of grid of knowledge.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, we are talking years here, actually. So.
So we know how we can get a hold of you. Scott, how do our listeners get a hold of us?
You can get hold of us at cast@xrmtoolbox.com, or on Twitter at xrmtoolcast, and also the same on LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you. And if you've got any suggestions for any other topics you'd like to hear, or you'd like to put yourself forward and nominate yourself, I'd like to come on the show, please do get in touch.
Yes. Or a coworker or something too. Yep.
Yeah,
awesome.
indeed.
Well, Guido, thanks again.
Thanks to you both. It was a pleasure.
Yep, it was awesome. Awesome. Talk to you later,
Yeah,
guys.
thanks for everything you do in the community. So, cheers, Guido.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Enjoy tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
This has been the XRM Toolcast with Jonas Rapp and Daryl Labar. If you have any questions for Jonas or I, or suggestions for future episodes, please send them to cast at xrmtoolbox.com or tweet to xrmtoolbox.